Insert George A. Romero joke here because he is definitely turning in his grave after this one.
You leave tomorrow at dawn. And you come right back. No sightseeing, no sidetracks.
Lord, make me a channel of thy peace. Where there are shadows, I may bring light. Where there is discord, harmony.
What's up, Universe, and welcome back to the web's first must-see comic and nerd culture show. Welcome to Comic Universe. I'm your host, as always, C-Dubs, and I'm riding solo on this video. The Halloween Horror Movie Challenge is wrapping up quickly, guys. This is day number 26, and on this particular day, I decided to watch The Day of the Dead. Bloodline, to be exact. It is a remake slash re-envisioning of George A. Romero's classic of Day of the Dead, if you will. The father of the modern zombie remake, if you will. And if you know George A. Romero's work, you know he always has underlying tones, underlying meaning, underlying messages in all of his films, you know, from capitalism to socialism, you know, race and religion. He can pack it in there, man, with what he's trying to convey and get across to you guys, or to us in the audience, if you will. And the remake, the last remake that came out in 2018 of Day of the Dead, just that was worse than this one, I think. Some people will say that one was better than this one just because of the amount of you know, ABC slash, you know, somewhat horror movie actors in that. I don't know. They're both pretty bad, to be honest with you. Now, the original is an absolute masterpiece in on itself, and now it is dated for sure in terms of a movie, but the message that he's trying to get across comes across. And in this, I think, it doesn't even have that message. It tries, but it makes it a little convoluted in terms of, in the original, you know, spoiler alert if you've never seen it, the zombies, they themselves kind of are evolving, if you will, learning, take, you know, some glimpses of their past lives have been retained, and they're trying to figure it out. And as time goes on, they slowly figure out how to. Some just have to figure out how to use like weaponry, you know, maybe not efficiently, if you will, as you know, you or I, but it starts to show that it's pointing in that direction. And as more and more of the sequels came out, we saw as we were getting there, you know, to Land of the Dead and so forth and so on. But I really don't know how George A. Romero would take this film. I think he would be really upset that this is where his movies and his concept of a creature has gone to. You know, let me go ahead and give you the good. The good is that, you know, the acting isn't bad. The acting, considering not knowing who any of these actors are, Zoe Parker is played by Stephanie Skellington, and Miguel Salazar is played by Jeff Gum. And the actor that played Max is probably the best actor in the whole thing, to be honest with you. Jonathan Stretch, if you will. Those are really the only three guys that you kind of really follow or need to know, I guess, if you will. You know, we follow some of the same plot lines and plot threads, if you will. You know, underground bunker, military influence. The plague has been going on for a while. They call them rotters in this, not zombies, which it just, I think at this point in time, we should just call them all zombies. Like, I understand, you know, in The Walking Dead that they don't do it, but everywhere else they should just damn do it by now. You know, if a mummy was walking down the street, we wouldn't call it a wrap. You know, it's a freaking mummy. You know, it's common knowledge by this point in time in life. You know, it makes it a lot easier for people to deal with or grasp. You know, but it's neither here nor there. So the rotters are still rotting, if you will, and you know, they're the military is out there trying to protect and scavenge for things that they are needed for their survival, to see if there's any survivors out there, and basically to push back the enemies. And there's a doctor there who thinks she might be able to cure and or reverse the effects of the rotting, if you will. And what the part that really gets me in this film is that it seems to be somewhat connected to love or lust, if you will, because Max, prior to the breakout, the virus breakout, he was trying to rape the doctor, if you will, and after the effect, and it is mentioned that there's something special within his blood, but he just doesn't want to harm her because he just wants to essentially hump her. I don't know. It was really weird. It just took me out of the movie. Max looks absolutely incredible, as you can see from the thumbnail that I made, guys. And it's just, he looks badass. He kind of actually looks a little like a Joker slash zombie, if you will, like a Jack Nicholson maybe Joker, because of how big and wide his mouth and how he can smile. You know, he could play a definite Joker stuntman, if you will, you know, for any future movies, and I would totally accept that. But you know, just the special effects were okay, I guess. The practical effects were good. That I'll continue with the good there. The practical effects were good. They did have legit Hummers, which is pretty cool. Sometimes you get makeshift vehicles in these type of low budget movies. Their budget apparently was like $6 million, which is not great, not bad for a horror movie. It's doable, to be honest with you. People have made masterpieces on far less than $6 million. But I'm sure they spent the most on the scenery, and that's another good thing about this, is the atmosphere is good. It's well put together in that regard. The bad is that it's just convoluted, doesn't follow. It tries to re-envision his vision, but it doesn't just succeed. It really just doesn't. It's just absolutely terrible, and the CGI effects are not really that good. I'm glad the practical where it was, but overall, not. And, you know, as always, we like to give you the good, the bad, and the badass. And I guess if I was going to find something badass about this, if you're a zombie fan, you know, you're going to like something about it. Because I do like something about it. Because I do love zombies. I'm still not sick of them, regardless of what some people say. If the zombies are your thing, great. If not, I understand too. Because they can get, you know, played out from time to time. But, you know, if you like zombies, this is pretty good. Max is absolutely badass as a zombie. He does a great job. I'm just going to be honest. He's absolutely great in this movie. Everything else, though, just is kind of subpar. The Zoe, she kind of looks like Felicity from the old CW days. And I wasn't really feeling it all that well. And I would say give this is a solid pass if I were to tell you guys. I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes, 0%. Okay, and I think the audience rating was like 26%. And I think that might be gracious if you're not a zombie fan. If you're a zombie fan, I think it can move up a little bit, maybe in the 30s, if you will, 40s maybe. But if you're not a zombie fan, stay away from this. Or if you're not a George A. fan, if you're a Romero fan, check it out, because, you know, at least you got something can compare and contrast, if you will. It's definitely no Dawn of the Dead remake, which is an absolute classic and masterpiece in unto itself. But you can see some of the shots and angles are basically trying to pay homage not just to George A. Romero's version, but also Zack Snyder's version of Dawn of the Dead 2, just in the swooping camera angles and things of that nature. But overall, I'd give this a 2. I've seen a lot worse movies, to be honest with you, especially budget-wise, but I've seen a lot worse. But again, I've seen a lot better, like every other George A. Romero zombie movie. But anyway, guys, so I'm C-Dubs, guys, and I'll see you next time in the universe. Peace.
Life.